I can write my essays in other ways. So the second way I told you is we can instead use a famous quote. So I got to thinking in my head, who would be someone reliable to get a quote about power from? And I said, okay, well, Thomas Edison, the guy who, Edison electricity. Sure, okay, let's look him up. So I hit Google. When I hit Google, I typed in Thomas Edison quotes power, and I scrolled around till I found a site I thought would be reasonably reputable. I saw thomasedison.org. I said, okay, well, let's just find a cool quote. I started scrolling, and what's interesting is this dude was alive over 100 years ago, and I saw this. He said he'd put his money on solar and sun energy. So I said, well, heck, this guy 100 years ago was thinking about solar energy? Okay. Why are we so slow? And I wanted to find a better source for that quote. So I searched the quote and I said, okay, well, here's a New York Times article. That'll be good. And all I'm trying to do is find a cool quote to make things interesting for my readers. And I am going to use that one. I found it down here, and it says in 1931, not long before Thomas Edison died, the inventor told his friends Henry Ford and Harvey Firestone. By the way, Henry Ford is the guy who started Ford Motors, the cars we drive today, and Firestone, Firestone tires. So these guys just all rolled around together. And he said, well, guys, I'd put my money on the sun and solar energy. What a source of power. He even went on to say, I hope we don't have to wait until oil and coal run out before we tackle that. I'm like, damn, that's a really good quote from someone 100 years ago who was already thinking about the problem that we're dealing with today. So we're a bit slow. And I like this quote, so I'm going to steal it. In fact, I'm going to steal all of it, even though it's a bit lengthy. So I've got to do a few things. I'm going to start my introduction paragraph this time with a quote. And I'll say in my own words, impressive that over 100 years ago, Thomas Edison was thinking about renewable energy, saying to his friends, and here's where I'm going to throw that quote in there. Saying to his friends, I'd put my money on the sun and solar energy. I have my interesting quotes. I have my thesis statement. And now I need to do that bridging them together, maybe give a little more background on my topic and just make these sentences all flow together. So I just gave this quote and I'll say, even now, with our advanced technologies, this is a problem. Oh man, see, I'm writing in first person again. I said R. I've got to change that. Even now, with all of its technologies, humanity is not fully seeking out alternative energy sources, but instead relies on energy that that ruins our planet and threatens. Oh man, our again. It's late. I'm writing in third person. Our planet that ruins the planet and and general health. And let's see, can I swing straight into that? Even now, with all of its technologies, humanity is not fully seeking out alternative energy sources, but instead relies on energy that ruins the planet and general health. Today's world faces growing energy demands, which create greater potential for pollution that must be addressed. Bam. Again, my thesis statement is at the end. I started out with a quote for my hook. I ended with my thesis statement, and that's how you can use a quote